good group that supports housing and homeless, and they're big into suicide awareness as well. So we'll get Julianne, if I pronounced that right, to talk. You can correct me.
I'm here today on behalf of March for Justice Ireland. We're a human rights organisation, and our aim is to highlight ongoing injustice in Ireland. And there is no bigger injustice than the lack of proper mental health services in our country. Day after day, people are struggling with their mental health. It's at the point now where many won't go for help because they don't see a point. Services are overloaded and underfunded. Waiting lists are endless. The list of failures just go on and on. We've been hit with a pandemic this year, which has the government chasing their tails in their usual incompetent manner. They're failing the people of Ireland. Through that incompetence, they have the deaths of our elderly in nursing homes on their hands. In the space of just over a month, they have the deaths of 11 of our homeless of this country on their hands. They also have the deaths of thousands of our citizens, some of the most vulnerable in our communities. The deaths you don't see in the media. They're the deaths of those who see no other option but to take their own lives. I could give you all the figures of the reported cases, but it's not a true representation of the death toll, as so many of them are classed as undetermined. Year after year, the number of deaths by suicide are rising, yet the government are still doing nothing to help. They took a pay cut and still leaves them better off than they were last year. They spent over 25,000 a day on the convention centre when the majority of socially distanced seats were empty. They've drained the pockets of the Irish people while they keep claiming their expenses. They're propping up the Dole bar while we have to spend €9 plus to sit in a pub and maybe have a soft drink, never mind a pint. And during this time of major crisis, they've taken a 6-week paid holiday after barely working for months. We all know about these things, but we know more about how the people of our country are suffering. We don't turn a blind eye to the suffering of our loved ones. They're not numbers to us. We've been crying out for generations for the government to save our loved ones, to stop bailing out our pals and the banks, to stop wasting our money and plough it into housing and mental health services. We are heading for a massive recession, and yet they've denied workers decent pay. They've enabled the banks and landlords prepare to make families who are struggling homeless. They're sitting back while businesses go under, and there's no doubt that the knock-on effect of this will have a serious detrimental effect on people's mental health. And as usual, there's not the services available to deal with it. Our loved ones, mothers, fathers, friends, children, are going to sink deeper into the hell of depression, and so many of them will seek the release from that hell. I can guarantee the government won't bat an eyelid. They'll just see numbers. We see our loved ones. They'll make empty promises of change. We will promise our loved ones the sun, moon and stars if they just hang on in there. Nothing will change until we make a change. March for Justice Ireland, we're trying to make a change. We've been working closely with Jackie Fox, whose daughter Nicole, Coco, died by suicide in 2018 after suffering years of bullying online and in person. Sadly, those who tortured Nicole cannot be held legally responsible for her death, but Jackie has worked tirelessly since Nicole's death to make it a criminal offence to annihilate another person. Her ultimate goal is to have that new legislation passed, something the government keeps sitting on. It did reach stage 2, but it stalled for way too long. The government will use any excuse they can, the election, current pandemic and anything else they can think of, but the fact remains this law should have been passed last year. If they can rush through emergency legislation to keep us all safe, they could without a doubt have rushed through legislation to save their loved ones from the vermin who torture others online to the point that they take their own lives. We have a petition online that to date has over close to 33,000 signatures, which Jackie will be handing in to the government in September. We can't and we won't let Nicole's law sit gathering dust while the government twiddle their thumbs. We have the support of the Irish people to support the government to pass the legislation faster than they can blink. If you want to add your name, the petition can be found on the March for Justice Ireland Facebook page. and we would like if you'd all join us in September while Jackie hands in the petition. We will announce the date nearer the time, so if you keep an eye on the page. Thank you very much.